Morning, everybody. Yes, just to introduce my panel quickly. So closest to me is Colonel Lata, who is the Director General of the Togo Civil Aviation Authority. And he's also, I found out this morning, the Executive Vice President of the African Civil Aviation Authority. So we're very happy to have him here. Then I've got Mr. Gomawake to his left, who is the former CEO of Ethiopian Airlines, the current chairman of Rwanda, and as of very recently, the aviation advisor to the Togo government. And then last but certainly not least, Mr. Henok Tefera, who is the Chief Executive Officer of ASKY Airlines, who I believe most of us used to get here over the last couple of days. But I think just to start off with, there's this undeniable link between airlift, connectivity, and development, particularly development of hotels, and we've seen it, in Addis and across the continent, where airports being developed lead to obviously more demand and then a need for more supply. So it's really important to have sessions like this, and obviously AviaDev later on this year is tied to the Rwanda event, and I think it's good to see that there's a relationship being built up between the airlines and the hotel developers as well. So just to start off with a more macro view of things, I'm going to ask Mr. Wake to give us a history and an overview of West African air connectivity as the kind of godfather of African air travel. He was called the Godfather by a certain Italian yesterday, and I think the title's sticking. So if you wouldn't mind, Mr. Wake, please just give us a kind of overview of the history that's led up to today and what the current status is of air connectivity in West Africa.
Good morning. I think there was plenty of coffee outside. What's happening? Good morning again. Now we can talk. Okay, as an old man, I always start with history. In the 70s, I was based in West Africa. In the 70s, West Africa had a lot of airlines. It starts with Air Afrique, which was owned by 11 French-speaking African countries, a big airline. There was the Sky Power, Nigeria Airways. There was Ghana Airways. There was Air Mali. There was Air Zaire, Gabon Air, a lot of airlines. At that time, the only one that was operating a 747, the 200s of course, was Air Gabon and Air Zaire. The connection in West Africa was much better then than it is today. Unfortunately, none of those airlines exist today. The region lost all the airlines. Today, each country is trying to establish its own airline. Nigeria has few airlines. Ghana is trying to start its own airline. Togo has its own airline. It was part of Air Afrique before. Gradually, the type of connection that was available in the 70s is coming back. It's coming back with the creation of ASKY, with the creation of Air Ivoire, with the creation of Air Burkina. Somehow it's coming up, but it has not yet reached the level that it was in the 70s and 80s. But countries now understand. First of all, none of the West African countries want to start a national carrier. They understood that governments can have share in airlines, but having 100% government-owned airline in West Africa. I'm not saying it does not work everywhere else. I know where it works. In West Africa, it does not work. And the governments have now decided to partner with private investors to start airlines. And I think the future is very, very bright. Now, coming back to connectivity within Africa today, within West Africa today, I think the CEO of ASKY will talk about ASKY, so I will leave it to him. And since others are not here, probably Colonel Lata, who is the Director General of Civil Aviation, will tell us how many airlines now fly to Lomé, for example. But one thing that I can tell you is the policy of West African countries has changed. When Air Afrique was there, nobody could enter those 11 countries. No other airlines could enter except Air France. Nobody else. Today, these countries are opening up. Colonel Lata will tell you later that any airline that wants to fly to Togo is welcome. And connectivity is not a matter of one airline. It's connectivity is when there is a choice, and that choice is being created. Carriers that did not allow other airlines to operate into the region are today asking airlines to operate. 10 years ago, when I was the CEO of Ethiopian Airlines, we wanted to fly to the States from West Africa. It was not possible. Today, every country in West Africa offers you that privilege of operating from here to the US. That is why ET is starting from here to New York, is already flying from here to Sao Paulo. So the policy framework is now in place. And therefore, I see a bright future for aviation and for those activities that follow aviation. Hotel is one of them. I can tell you, without an airline, hotel cannot prosper. Because people have to get to that destination. I can tell you my own example. In Addis today, Ethiopian Airlines itself takes 500 rooms a night, paid by Ethiopian Airlines for its own transit passengers. That plays a significant share in the market development of hotels in Addis. And I'm sure the same thing can happen here. Togo wants to be a hub. My job now with Colonel Lata and his team is to see how to develop Lomé as a hub for West Africa. Touristic hub, aviation hub, and a commercial hub for West Africa. And that is possible because the size of Togo, and at the same time, the flexibility that the country has will assist that type of program. When Dubai wanted to be the hub of aviation, nobody believed them. They were less than 300,000 population. Even when Concorde, British Airways and Air France wanted to fly to Concorde to the Middle East, they didn't go to Dubai, they went to Bahrain. Today, Dubai is the aviation center, the hub of the world. And I think it is not the size or the population, it is the vision that counts. And the vision is there in Togo to build it as a hub.
Right. Thank you very much. I think you touched on an important point about the connectivity with the outside world and the importance of having the vision. And from that, I want to move on to Henok, if I may, to just we all, or a good portion of us, experienced your airline over the last couple of days, and I read your article about your new planes coming online, new links coming online, and your relationship with Ethiopian, linking up with the US and Latin America. What are the ambitions for ASKY going forward?
Thank you very much, Mark, and good morning, everybody. Just to pick on what Ato Girma also mentioned regarding air connectivity in West Africa, as he rightly put it, air connectivity today is less than what it used to be in the 70s or 80s. And it is with a view to fill that void, that air connectivity void, that ASKY was established as a community airline for West and Central Africa. So the objective of ASKY, when it was founded, was to create a sustainable airline based purely on commercial considerations, taking stock of the failures of previous projects. All the airlines that Ato Girma mentioned were really not market-driven, which eventually led to their demise. So as a purely private project, private sector project, commercially driven and customer-focused airline, ASKY was established. And it is really that model that is, I think, viable in the long run and is proving successful, because today, that connectivity void, at least in terms of regional travel within the region, has been filled by ASKY. We travel, we serve around 23 destinations in the region, almost daily flights, through our main hub here in Lomé. And West Africa is a very much integrated region, much more than East Africa or Southern Africa. You have more intra-regional trade because you have common rules, because you have visa-free or free movement of people within the region. So it's a much more integrated region, and air connectivity is critical to support that deepening integration. So we are really very bullish on the prospects because of the population, the demographic size of the region, the economic growth of the region, even though there are some difficulties now due to the decline in commodity prices. But overall, we see an emergence of a middle class that is able to buy and afford tickets. We see, therefore, economic growth supporting air travel demand. And we are based on our plan, based on the region's projected growth. So today, as I said, we operate 23 destinations. In 4 or 5 years' time, we'll reach around 30 destinations, including secondary markets within the region. And also, we want to make not only Togo a regional hub, but also an international hub with our strategic partner, Ethiopian Airlines, both through their flights, their long-haul flights. They've already started Brazil, and next month they'll start to New York, with ASKY feeding them. So the network is done in such a way as to anybody within the region, they take ASKY, come to Lomé with 1 hour layover in the magnificent airport you saw. You take Ethiopian to go to New York or Brazil. And then also, we also have plans this year to start ASKY long-haul flights to Europe, in particular Paris. So really, we are very much encouraged by what we see here, not only the geographic location, but the investment in infrastructure, the policy support, the vision that exists here, which really gives us confidence that this airline can succeed in view of the market conditions that we foresee.
Great. Well, thanks a lot for that. And I think we can all agree with you, first-timers to Lomé, everybody that I've spoken to is really impressed with the state of the infrastructure. And that's not just the airport, but generally the infrastructure here is very good. So I appreciate that. I think if I can turn to the Colonel now, who is going to speak in French, I believe. So if anybody needs translation, now is the time to put on your headsets. And I think, we all experienced the airport. Only a portion of us experienced ASKY, but all of us experienced the airport. And I think the question is, what is the plan going forward? Is this the first part of a larger phase? What kind of capacity are you looking to achieve here? with the airport. We know that Ethiopia has now kind of reached its limit for capacity in Addis, and they're looking at extending that. So I think that's the kind of question that we'd like to hear from yourself, Colonel, is where is this airport going from here?
Thank you very much. Je voudrais vous remercier d'avoir choisi Lomé pour cette importante rencontre. Voyez-vous, le Togo, c'est un pays de paix, un pays accueillant qui aime recevoir des gens. L'arrivée de la nouvelle aérogare par l'impulsion du chef de l'État avait une vision. Nous avons remarqué l'évolution exponentielle des trafics. Avec l'arrivée des compagnies comme ASKY, le trafic a augmenté et l'ancien aéroport était devenu très étroit. Alors, la nouvelle aérogare, pour presser rapidement la capacité, au jour d'aujourd'hui, nous traitons près de 800 000 voyageurs et nous pensons arriver à 1 million très rapidement et nous avons une ambition avec l'arrivée annoncée de 5 nouvelles compagnies, même 6, avec la compagnie Cargo. Nous pensons arriver rapidement au-delà d'1,5 million et notre aérogare est prête pour traiter entre 2,5 millions et 3 millions de passagers. Cette aérogare a ce qu'il y a de plus moderne en matière de sûreté et de sécurité. Nous avons des scanners Smith américains double vue. Nous avons des scanners européens L3. Nous avons des tomographes. Nous avons des détecteurs d'explosifs liquides et solides. Nous avons 30 boxes d'enregistrement, dont 3 automatiques. Une salle de vidéosurveillance qui scrute tous les espaces sur la nouvelle aérogare, les 21 000 m². Nous avons 15 parkings avec 5 nosines. Nosines, c'est-à-dire que vous parquez l'avion face aux installations. Et nous avons un hangar fret de l'ordre de 50 000 tonnes. Pour la sous-région, nous enregistrons l'arrivée croissante des hommes d'affaires, des touristes. Et il y a un programme de développement de tous les sites touristiques, de nouveaux hôtels, comme celui du Radisson Blue Hotel, qui a été rénové et qui a été inauguré tout récemment, là, le 26 avril. Donc, c'est des indicateurs très positifs. Alors, la connectivité, c'est quoi? Je vais vous dire quelque chose. I want to tell you something. J'étais dans un pays, je ne vais pas citer le nom du pays. Vous êtes là, vous voyez les capitales les plus proches. Hein? Vous êtes là, vous voyez l'autre capitale. Alors, vous pouvez vous téléphoner, mais pour voyager, il faut quitter l'autre capitale A, passer par un point B en Europe avant de redescendre sur la partie C. Vous savez, dans ces conditions, comment on peut développer des affaires. Quand vous savez que pour aller de ce point A à B, vous n'avez que 30 minutes, mais pour aller par la voie aérienne, il faut monter, transiter pas plus haut avant de redescendre. C'était pareil. L'Afrique de l'Ouest, pour aller de l'Afrique de l'Ouest à l'Afrique centrale, il devait passer seulement une nuit quelque part. Je me rappelle, je devais aller à Bangui pour une réunion de la SECNA. J'ai dû dormir à Douala. Aujourd'hui, ce n'est plus possible avec ASKY. ASKY a réussi à desservir 23 destinations. Je prenais 22, maintenant il a une destination de plus. Et qui relie l'Afrique de l'Ouest à l'Afrique centrale. Avant, pour aller à N'Djamena, il fallait passer par Addis avant d'aller à N'Djamena. Ce n'est plus possible, c'est des vols directs. Au jour d'aujourd'hui, le développement du Togo est tel que nous avons un hub maritime, un hub aérien et des vols dans tous les sens. Alors, ASKY dessert donc 22 destinations, 23 puisqu'on vient de m'annoncer une destination supplémentaire. Ethiopian fait des vols quotidiens, dont 3 vers le Brésil et 3 prochainement vers les USA. C'est prévu pour juillet. Air France est passé de 4 vols à 1 vol quotidien 7 vols par semaine. Royal Maroc fait 5 vols. Bruxelles Airlines 5 vols, Air Burkina 5 vols, Sheba 4 vols, Air Ivoire 8 vols par semaine, Comfort Jet, c'est vol à la demande. Donc nous avons une douzaine de compagnies et il y a 5 compagnies qui s'annoncent, mais pas des moindres. Hein. Vous avez Emirates qui s'annonce, Kenya Airways qui s'annonce, Turkish Airlines, Egyptair, Arik et une grosse compagnie cargo du Nigeria. Ça veut dire que Lomé est dans le processus d'émergence. Ce n'est pas un vain mot. Voyez-vous la politique des grands travaux du chef de l'État? Les routes. Pour ceux qui connaissaient le Togo dans les années 80-90, peuvent voir la différence. Hein, de nouvelles routes. Le nouvel aéroport. Le port. Bientôt, les chemins de fer qui seront rénovés. Nous avons l'éclairage. On n'a plus le problème de coupure d'électricité, l'éclairage. Nous avons aussi, au niveau de toutes les préfectures, 50 km de pistes. Nous avons aussi également le forage pour tout le monde. Vous savez, la santé est importante. Avant de parler d'émergence, il faut être en santé. Donc, le Togo est dans le processus du développement tout azimut. Alors, qu'est-ce qui reste? C'est de vous inviter, vous les hommes d'affaires. La sûreté, la sécurité au Togo est une réalité. Je vous ai dit au niveau de l'aéroport, nous avons une salle de vidéosurveillance. Nous savons à tout moment, tout espace. Quand les aéronefs sont sur le parking, ils sont suivis. Nous avons des forces de réactivité en attente. Nous avons des miradors tout au long, avec des caméras à vision infrarouge. C'est-à-dire que vous pouvez couper tout, mais de nuit, vous bougez, on vous voit. Et nous sommes reliés, connectés. Tout point de l'aéroport, pendant l'enregistrement, pendant l'embarquement, l'arrivée, tout est suivi. Nous avons une disposition à l'aéroport que vous pouvez vous-même, vous avez dû voir, pour aller au check-in. You have to go through the scanners. You can see it everywhere. In Togo, is a new thing. À Lomé, avant d'aller pour le check-in, vous passez par le scanner. Ce n'est pas une exigence de loisir, mais le Togo, nous avons choisi cela. Vous pouvez savoir, if you go to the ICAO audit, you can see the score of Togo. Vous pouvez voir le score du Togo en matière de sûreté et de sécurité. Voilà, vous sachez que le Togo est un pays d'accueil, très ouvert. Vous allez avoir bientôt un film qu'on va vous passer pour voir ce que nous faisons dans l'optique d'aller vers l'émergence, le leitmotiv du chef de l'État. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much.
Hello. Thanks. Thank you very much, Colonel. I think what was really important in what you said as well was that Togo is looking to position itself as a hub from all aspects, not just from an air connectivity point of view. So we're looking forward to seeing it become a case study of what to do from an African development point of view going forward. So as you mentioned, there's a short video about the airport that we're just going to air now. If anybody has any questions after that, please feel free to ask us. We'll be down in and amongst people afterwards. We do need to move on after the video, but I'll introduce the next session once the video is done. It's just a short video about the new terminal that we all came through.